Little Legends Podcast is a Prediction Esports production. Support us by subscribing to the Prediction Esports Podcast channel on your favorite podcast provider. Hey guys, welcome back to the Little Legends Podcast. I am your host, the Blevins. Joining me as always is Boop. What's up, buddy?
It's going good. We had a little bit of a musical transition into the show, so hopefully that continues going.
Or hopefully, for the sake of the listeners, only your part continues going, and I don't ever do anything musically inclined ever again.
Just because I have a music degree doesn't mean I can sing.
It has nothing to do with the fact that you have a music degree. Okay, it has something to do with that, but it has everything to do with the fact that I'm the least musically inclined person of all time. There are tone-deaf chimpanzees that are more musically inclined than I am.
Chimpanzees. I don't know why I did that.
Chimpanzees.
All right, see, it's already happening. I'm loving it.
Chimpanzees and Jumanjis. Oh, God, we really need to stop. Oh, God, I'm playing the video that I was going to talk about. Oh, my God, why is it playing? Okay, well, that's
just go ahead and start.
It's a little spoiler. It's a little spoiler there, guys. Who is that guy talking on that video? We're in the episode, aren't we? Let's get right to it. We got a little bit of housekeeping here. Of course, guys, we are on the Prediction Network. Make sure you are checking us out on Spotify and iTunes there, PREDICTION. Or I found out today, for sure, confirmed today, if you go to Spotify and just type in Teamfight Tactics, boom, Prediction does show up as well as our other feed. You know what? Just follow both. Sub to both. Let's get both. Come. Double dip. We love it. But you're not only getting our show there, you're also getting some other great shows. There's an esports in general show, esports business. There's a Dota 2 show, a Smash Bros show. There's all sorts of other great esports podcasts there. You're definitely going to want to check them out. The other piece of housekeeping we have here is that we have a brand new patron who joined us over at patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast. That is Tressel, who is a relative newcomer, actually was at game night this week, or was at game night, was listening in, and we had a lot of fun. And I believe there was a moment where Tressel was at a truck stop taking a shower, but had the stream on and just heard some crazy things at game night that probably made him scramble for his phone and turn it off to not arouse suspicion.
Oh no! Yeah, I think it's like it only happens when you're listening to that stuff in public. You know what I mean? Like it's like we know is what I'm trying to say, right? Hey, anyone who's listening to us in the shower, especially in public, you gotta be careful.
Yeah. Although I will say that you're shooting pretty bad if you're trying to tune into game night, the stream, and have something appropriate being said or played or referenced, because that's unlikely to happen.
I could fathom that there have been some things that have been said that might eventually come back to bite literally every participant in game night. But we're gonna keep that as a safe space for now.
Oh, it's a safe space, but it's lighthearted jabbing, I would say, and
it's in jest.
Everything is in jest. And speaking of Tressel, he's actually in the chat right now on the live show, which you can check out at twitch.tv/theblevins. But huge shout outs to him and him being a $5 patron. And actually, if he says something in chat right now, we'll put it on the show. But guys, make sure you do check out patreon.com/Little Legends Podcast to join the action and support the show. And actually, we did a little something this week, Boop. Actually, at game night, I went out to my local GameStop and bought some League of Legends Riot gift like physical cards here. And at game night, last night. Gave away two $10 gift cards. I am trying to remember who won them. I think Jim the Shovel and Eric Thomas ended up being the winner. But actually, for those listening to the show right now, and if you're a super sleuth in Discord, there's actually another giveaway going on right now in the giveaway channel in Discord. You just need to go in there, click the little party popper thing to be entered. It's going to be given away at the beginning of game night this Friday. It's this $25 one right here. So we've taken some of the patron funds, and in celebration of us getting 10K downloads, and as well as the success of the Patreon, we wanted to give something back instead of just taking from you and taking up your ear space every week. We wanted to give a little bit back.
This is 90% of the LoL Legends podcast budget, so we're really sacrificing here. And we just want you to know that we appreciate all of you, and we're willing to make these sacrifices for this wonderful community. It's pretty crazy. We say this every single time, but the Discord keeps growing.
Yes.
The interactions aren't stopping. Right? Mm-hmm. With a lot of Discords, they do really well. It's like a release of a game, right? They do really well for like a week and a half and then die.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many dead Discords out there. I mean, my personal Discord is one of them. Yeah. And so this one is probably one of the more active Discords I have. And that's just so cool. So if you want to be involved in the community of TFT, like our Discord's a really, really great place to start. We've got some pros in there. We got winners of tournaments in there. Crone's been a guest. Sphinx has won a fight night. And we're continuously building that community. So it's not just for entertainment either. It's for information. As Blev has some things in there about how to win in this current patch, and we're working with Heroes Hearth on a couple things. So it is a really wonderful place to be. And the best part about it is that everyone is cool. There hasn't been like any drama really ever, which is awesome.
And of course, now that you've said that, you're inviting it. But bring on your drama. Let's say it. Just kidding. Everyone's been cool. Game nights have been cool. Just jump in. And if you are listening to the show and you're wondering how to get there, discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. You can join right in, jump into the community. Just come in. We play game nights. We had a nice full game night last week. Some new faces too, and it was really great. So definitely come jump around there. Okay, enough housekeeping. Let's talk about our week in TFT. Boop. Any fun, exciting, or interesting games for you?
Yeah, I had literally the game that I was playing before I came on here. Nobody was going mages, which was odd.
That is odd.
Yeah, I know it, because like there was a brand with a recurve bow and a Syndra with a large rod on the carousel, and I could have gone for either of them, and I ended up getting the brand, but I never ever got the LeBlanc back. So I had a LeBlanc early on, right? And I didn't want to mess with some. Yeah, exactly. And I was never able to get my 6 mages. Right, wow. LeBlanc was literally the first character that I picked up on the carousel, and then I sold her for the item to put on someone else, because at that point I didn't know if I was going Ocean Mages.
Sure.
And then once this guy was like, "Is anyone going mages?" I looked around, and I was like the only one that even had like a skeleton of it, because I just happened to pick up some Vlads.
Yeah.
And I was never able to get to 6, even though no one else was really competing. I got messed up by some summoner comps though during that process, so that didn't feel good either. 2 rounds I lost more than 20 HP going from like from both summoner players in that lobby.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I could beat light, no problem. I could beat literally anything else, but I kept going up against the summoner player, and a predator player really messed me up. And I was never really able to get my Viger. I only got to level 2, so the items could have been better, but I was just shocked that I was the only one in the lobby, and yet I was still unable to complete it. So I'm just done. I'm done with that comp. I'm never playing it again.
Yeah, it took me so long to be able to play any sort of semblance of sorcerers back in set 1. And mages are really, like, they're a little bit easier for me to play, but it's more like I'm playing oceans rather than I'm playing mages. I'm playing like Ocean Summoner or Ocean Zed or Ocean something, or Ocean and Mage also happens to be in the comp, but Ocean is what's really tying it together, not the mages themselves. Anytime I've tried to go like 6 mages or really focus on the mages, I've just had a bad
I'm
time.
doing something wrong, and especially since like
Same.
I'm so used to hyper rolling, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can accomplish it that way, right? It's just a little
Mm-hmm.
bit tougher with that particular comp, and so it's just kind of like forcing it, right? Just like in
Yep.
a MOBA, if you like force a team fight because you're just getting antsy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're probably gonna lose it. Same thing here. Like when you're like forcing a comp, it's like, oh my god, I have 7 Vlads,
Yep.
right? And I have no idea how to play it, but I have 7 Vlads. And this, I think, it would be like an opinion piece for future episodes because we do have a lot to talk about
Mm-hmm.
today. But my question is like, hey, is it better to like go mages at that point in time or
Mm-hmm.
just sacrifice all of those lads and get something that's familiar to you? I think that's one
Right.
of those questions of all time when it comes to esports, right? Do what's
Yes.
familiar or do what's good?
Yep, that is definitely a good discussion to have on a different episode. That's not the only patch episode we're going to have for 4 weeks. We'll be talking about that as well. Um, but I actually brought up an interesting point about um, being so used to hyper rolling that like it. I've been so in the like I'm either hyper rolling predators or hyper rolling light or egg roll or something else where like I have it's kind of like warped how I do my economy in a bad
Mm-hmm.
way, not in a good way where I'm like not hyper rolling because I'll get into these points where I'm like, oh well, I'm just gonna roll down like 40 gold here, and then it's like, oh wait, I don't want to do that. I just want to like keep a
I
good
know, right?
economy.
Remember in set one when you had to be over 50 gold for like the majority of the
Yeah.
game, right? Where you would just like put the extra gold over 15 to XP until you hit level 7, and then you'd start maybe using it. But it was much more of like a hoarding type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're like going some of those expensive comps. But now it's like, all right, the best units are all 3 costs and below right now, bar a couple exceptions, right? That you need like to carry your games, right? You need
Right.
this level 3, and so let's go ahead and spend your money. It's very the evolution of this game is very interesting in that way.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of swinging back. The pendulum's kind of swinging back. I mean, it really depends on your style and also like what your MMR is playing. But I've been watching a lot of Raditz and Crowan lately, and they're obviously playing at the top of the ladder. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone, as well as K3 Soju, everyone is like the whole game is revolving around either like a high roll, like hyper roll comp where you like get it and you're the only one that does it, or more commonly like someone gets to level 8 really quickly and then gets a Z2 or a Singe 2 and just wins the game from there.
Yeah.
So like I've been lately just because I have loved hyper rolling since the onset of the game. Like the first time I saw Skara's video, or it might not have even been a video, but like Skara talking about hyper rolling gunslingers, I'm like, okay, this is a really cool thing to be able to do. So I do it as much as I can. I'm like scouting out, ooh, can I go predators? Can I go light? Can I go egg roll? Can I go all in on mages and just roll for the Vlads and the Syndras? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but when I'm not doing that, I'm like, so I just wait here, or it's like I have
I
gold and I'm not
know,
rolling.
right?
But where I was like
It's
so
like when you're
disciplined
like
about it before.
it's like when your friends leave you at a party, right? You're like at a party and then you like went and get a drink and then you don't know where your friends are,
Hmm.
right? And you're like just like, I hope there's a dog here. Like what do I do? How do I traverse this situation?
Yeah, you're just like over and you're just like in the kitchen, like awkwardly, like looking like you're
Yeah,
looking for something, even though you're not.
and then like for some reason you're like shoved in the middle of like the refrigerator in the corner, right? And now you're trapped
Yeah,
by yourself.
you're just
This
there, and
this actually happened to me once. I remember it was a party at my house,
it was
and
at your
yeah,
house.
it was at my house. So I used to be a big party animal. I had like the best party house when I was a sophomore and junior in college. And I went to party school. I went to CU Boulder, so we were involved.
Hmm.
And I had a bunch of people. And just side note, I was a music major, and it's really funny because music majors don't really talk to anybody else, at least at
Hmm.
CU at CU at the time. So like the living room was all of the music majors, and then everywhere else was like all of the other people. There were probably like 40 or 50 people, and it was like too much.
Wow.
I was like really hot.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to like leave, and someone's like, "Hey, can you get me this?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So I went into the kitchen, and I turn around, and I'm trapped. Right? Like people are dancing their butts off, and like I'm just sitting here with like a bunch of stuff in my hands, and I'm like a little inebriated, and I just like my brain shuts off. It's like, just stay here. Right? Like
You're good
so,
here
like,
now.
yeah, exactly. So like I don't like scurry through like the dancing in the kitchen, right? Or you know, or try to go the other way around and just stand there for like for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then literally someone's like, "Chris," and I like it was like when yeah, I like came to, and I realized I had been in one spot like cowering in fear for 10 minutes. But I think it was like a moment of like you know, if you stand still, no one can see you type of situations, like camouflage, like hiding in plain sight in my own house.
It's like Timo, right?
Yeah, and then he was like, "Chris," I was like, "What? The cops are here," and I was like, "God damn it! Now I got to deal with this."
And they want to party.
Yeah, exactly. I just wasted 10 minutes of my life. I can never get back. It might as well have not happened, right? I was nothing. Eyes glazed over, everything. But yeah, sorry about that tangent. I thought it was a funny story, so I decided to go for it.
It is quite funny. I don't remember how we got here, but yes, hyper rolling does feel like losing your mind at a party a little bit.
Yep.
It's like I've forgotten how to actually econ correctly, so I've been trying to correct that, and it's been a little rough for me. My ascend up through gold has been a little slower than I'd like it to be, but other than that, game night was obviously super fun. Again, make sure you guys are joining the Discord for that. Don't discard it, Discord it. And yeah, just it'll definitely be a really good. It'll be a really good exercise for me to relearn econ, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll have both of them at a good point where I can actually like switch between hyper rolling and playing like a normal human seamlessly. But I have a feeling I'm just going to fail at both for quite some time. But let's talk about some news here. We had a couple of tournaments going on this week. We had the Fandom Legends tournament, week number 2. We saw Alan ZQ again taking down the Group A by 1 point, actually, over Tabs, who I believe tied for first last week. So maybe Tabs and Alan ZQ kind of have this have the meta on lock right now, and really understanding where they need to be. That was for Group A, and then Group B, Grand Vice ended up taking it in first place, with Follow Jella a couple points behind in second. But
we've casted Grand Vice before, I think.
I believe so. I believe in the OEL, if I remember.
Yeah. I remember it was kind of like he was playing spoiler on one of those rounds where
or maybe it was either OEL or it might have been Heroes Earth Fight Night.
Either way, I remember noticing Grand Vice being like, "Oh man, this guy." One, he had bad luck, I think, for a couple of those games. And the game that he didn't, I think he was able to beat a Kassassidin comp or something, or maybe he was running that comp and he got second or third.
Yes,
this could all be a lie, but that's what I remember.
I remember that
like 2 months ago.
I remember that happened. I don't remember if it was him or not.
Yeah, we're familiar with the name. In short,
it's only like 2 months ago, but set 1 feels like it was infinity years ago. I don't even remember. Like, what is Draven? I don't remember that. I don't remember that unit. I remember I played that when I was a kid. That's what it feels like. Which, I mean, even though it feels like it's been so long, set 2 still feels great. Like, another check-in. Like, we've been saying this week in and week out. Set 2 still feels great. And they're improving it and they're changing it, as we'll talk about in just a bit. But the other thing about Grand Vice is he is another like top, like front page NA ladder player as well, because I hear him. He's kind of like the Raditz and the Sphinx, or like he's in all of those lobbies like every time. that they come up. The other event that we had was the League of Legends All-Star charity event. And I will post the link. They actually, TFTbuilds.com actually has all of the final lobbies, like what won, what didn't, what they had, all that good stuff. So I will post the links there. I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of All-Stars.
Same,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, but it was cool. Like we saw again, it was. I think it was a little. I did see some. It was a little bit more. It wasn't as like goofy and wacky. I think um, as the invitational that they had with the shoes and like the Rise of the
Yeah,
Elements invitational. But it was still like there was. I believe each team had like two players. There was like a League of Legends pro and then a TFT pro that was like coaching them. I think, or at least that was part of it. And overall, I mean, I think it was pretty good. From what I watched, it was pretty good. I didn't get a chance to check out the entire event. I hope that they post the video somewhere, if not just the VODs from Twitch. But I will post all of the builds in the show notes so you can check those out as well. One other thing that I forgot to put in the notes, but I wanted to mention. It was actually a tweet from from Riot about the state of competitive that was a little bit, I think, encouraging. Here it is. Okay, this is from LH Faria, who is the global product lead for esports for Riot Games and League of Legends esports. He said in a tweet, "Hey players and esports fans, how do you like TFT esports so far? We committed to building a competitive scene, but we're still learning how to broadcast the game, iterating on how to broadcast the game, iterating on tournament format and overall competitive integrity. Would love to hear your thoughts." So this all kind of ties back into what we ranted about a few weeks ago about
well, it
they're
sounds like we
listening.
have some thoughts
Yeah.
as a community. Is
Mm-hmm.
what my response to that was, and they're not. My thoughts aren't bad. Like I just want them to lean in on something. That's all.
Yes. I want
You know,
them.
you
Yeah.
go all in one way, and then go all in the other, and then make adjustments. Right? Like, and
Right.
then meet in the middle. See where the I've always like one of my big pieces of advice when it comes to like really anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're training for a marathon, when you're learning how to cast, when you're learning a new game, you have to push the limit sometimes, right? You have to know what max is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also have to know what zero is,
Right.
because sometimes that's a lot harder to find. So you have to get there. So sometimes you have to go to like a -2 and a 12 to know where a 0 and 10 is, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
want them to do the 12 with that entertainment side of
Yeah.
things, like real bad, just to see what that's like,
Yeah.
right? Like put because something about Hearthstone that was always really cool is that it's at an inn, so you can have these
Yes.
things at like a lounge and like have people in the background just hanging
Mm-hmm.
out, maybe drinking some beverages, getting trapped behind in a corner, and
Getting ditched by their
not
friends
knowing.
and getting
Yeah,
lost in
get
a
ditched by their
kitchen.
friends in their own house at the party you invited them to, but but the other big thing is just like I also want to see them go all in on the other side where it's just competitive, right? You
Mm-hmm.
go in, it's very esportsy with the players all sitting around a table. We could do like a Knights at the Round Table type of situation. I don't know, but I just want them to go at a 12 on either side, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense, and I do think that they should go to the 12 on the like they've already started it. I think the best way for it to grow in general and just like in the mainstream is to go for that sort of casual, not casual, but that like what we've seen before with the shoes,
Mm-hmm.
the invitational style. Like go for the entertainment side, do that, leverage your streamers, the full nine, and either go to a 12 on the competitive side and do the whole esports proper thing, or at the very least, and maybe even optimally, enable the other organizations and groups and communities to do the traditional esports side, the leagues or tournaments and whatnot. Give us spectator mode, please. But like I know in other games or in some other games, the company is actually limiting what can happen with the IP. I don't want to name anything here. It's going to get anyone in trouble. But there's certain companies that limit the other tiers that of tournament play that can happen because they want control over it. But then they don't go all in on it. You need to do one or the other, in my opinion. You need to either fully enable, like give the keys to the Cadillac to the community, or if you're going to taper that back, like go all in on it yourself and drive the bus for everyone to be in. And I we haven't really been given a reason to believe that that the negative of either of those two things is going to happen from Riot. In fact, if anything, we've gotten very encouraging news from them on a lot of fronts. But I think overall, just like the at least some amount of transparency from someone at that level that's directly involved. Unlike I forget the title of the guy that we talked about from Worlds, but he was like a C-level guy that wasn't directly involved with TFT, that was
Yeah.
making a broad strokes comment about it because he was asked a
Which
question.
we had assumed.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we said that. We were like, this guy probably has like talking points, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're C level, basically what happens is like your staff, before you get onto an interview, whoever your
Mm-hmm.
publicist is or whoever is
Mm-hmm.
handling that will give you bullet points because they already know what questions are going to be asked, and
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much like giving them cue cards and stuff like that. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
going off script, then you just say, I'm really excited for the future,
Right.
or we have a lot of things planned,
Right.
right? And I had assumed that that was the case, and it seems like that might have been the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing what they're talking about now, because that was a little bit more. This statement's a little bit more all encompassing when it comes to competitive TFT
Mm-hmm.
specifically. The hardest part for me is I wonder where the money would come from for a competitive scene, right? Because they are probably trying to do something with Legends of Runeterra as we speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of developing a competitive scene, because
Sure.
Hearthstone, in my opinion, is ripe to be taken down.
Yes.
Battlegrounds has kept some of the popularity up for now, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing Battlegrounds not. I haven't bought a pack yet for the new expansion because I don't want to, because I'm just
Nope.
playing Battlegrounds, right?
I just bought them with the gold. The only reason I was playing the game was to get enough gold to get 20 of the new packs so I could
To
have
get
all three
a
champs.
choice of three.
Yeah,
Yep,
which I now have, and
exactly.
I won't do quests anymore because I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And so was, I think, an obvious surprise to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
even though like every auto battler has been super successful on release so far for
Yeah.
everyone who's tried, right? It was still a surprise. And so, where is that money coming from in terms of getting that in an esport? I don't know, right? Because they are 100% already doing it in Legends Runeterra, 100% already thinking about it for Project A, right? And I mean, just today, someone from Riot was asking where the tactical shooter content creators are, right, for
Mm-hmm.
Project A to come up. And some Overwatch people jumped on it, some Fortnite people jumped up on it, and they're obviously already thinking about how to show this off. But with
Mm-hmm.
TFT, it's much more reactionary, right?
Right.
It's community driven. It's we really love this game and want opportunities, and so Riot now has to react as opposed to proactively install
Right.
these things. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge when it comes to TFT esports is it'll. I feel like the hardest part is it might always feel like you're a little behind and running uphill, but it seems like they're really trying to get it right at the same time and do what they can with it. We're
Mm-hmm.
really lucky that Riot had a really good year, right? That they have the means to even do this kind of thing. And so I think it's going to be a while before we know. But I do want to caveat that it might be moving slowly because of things completely outside of all of our control, right? Like they need
Mm-hmm.
to get that budget approved and get it going and then try these things out. And that's why I kind of want them to go all in on something, right? Spend
Yes.
a little pretty penny on something really, really nice and see if people even want to watch it, right? Because one of the things that we'll talk about in opinion pieces one day too is the fact that the player base is like less than half of what it was in set one for set two,
Mm-hmm.
and what that means for competitive TFT, what that means for TFT in the future.
Right.
Right.
Well, what I think is that they don't need Riot doesn't need to immediately put, you know, $10 million into the TFT Pro League. What they can do is see what the community does with the esports proper side. Like they can put their money and their whatnot into their influencers and their entertainment product, which I think is a good idea. But for esports proper, like they can do one-off cups, they can do this, but they do need to prove the product, and it needs to happen. I think in order for it to be successful in the long term, it needs to happen organically. LCS and League Worlds didn't happen overnight, right? We just hit the 10-year anniversary. Remember that? Like back in the old days, it wasn't league run tournaments. Like I remember playing in League of Legends before season 1, and it was like so and so, whatever org would run a like a LAN tournament or something, and you'd show up and play. It was years of that, and Riot over the years has seen that yes, there's that hunger for this scene. I see it, you see it, we see it because we're so engrossed in the TFT community. There's so many people that want this competitive scene. But we're also in a little bit of a bubble too, right? Like not Blizzard, Riot doesn't like it needs to be scalable, right? And I think that you prove that out organically. Let the community run these tournaments. Let the orgs sprout up organically that need to do this. You don't need to have the like multi-million-dollar machine running instantly for it to be a success. It's not going to be a success overnight. It shouldn't be. And if it is, and it's just propped by money from Riot, that's where we start to see the boom bust and we see the bubble pop of something that could have just been organic. I mean, we see that in other things, like when a new game comes out and it's like, this new game, esports ready, join the $10 million opening tournament. It's like, well, is this an esport because people actually want to play it, or is it an esport because you spent $10 million as a prize pool, which is your marketing budget, to get people to play your game just because there's that, and then the second tournament doesn't exist because nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
You want you don't want that. What you want is like the other end of the spectrum is Smash Bros. Melee, where people are playing $10 tournaments in 2004 in basements in SoCal. Like, like you want somewhere in the middle of that, right? You want some money and some like interest and some publicity for it, not just people playing in the basement for car fare, but you don't want the like unnatural infusion of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really see them going super hard into it until it's out on mobile, because that's probably gonna boost player numbers quite a bit.
Huge.
Just in general because of access, right? Because I wonder how effective just the fact that Battlegrounds is on mobile is, and Underlords. Right. And since there's going to be cross-platform play between all of them, that's like the next big check-in, right? If we want this community to be sustainable, we have to see that once it's on mobile, that it does increase those player numbers, right? It does give them an idea of the fact that this is growable in a mobile market, because that is like the untapped like oil in esports right now is mobile gaming, right? Some people have started to try, but in China and in Korea, mobile gaming super popular.
In India too.
Yeah, we don't see
in
it, and
South
that's
America.
Esport. Like India is like an esport market that is
Yes.
going to boom in like 10 years maybe. But right now we have to say, all right, this is going to be closer to a mobile game, and we have to go towards those things like Clash Royale or Brawl Stars, right? Or PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile.
Yeah.
And once it's out on mobile, how much more players do we have? And then after that influx, are there going to be enough good content creators and professionals to sustain this game even further, to give them the opportunity to become professional players outside of just entertainers, right? So the mobile release is super important. So everyone listening, make sure you download, even though you're still the same player and it's not going to matter. Tell your friends to try out this game, because I really want, one of the best things about Hearthstone is you can go to a Tavern Hero qualifier, right? Or go to a special event put on by someone and get Nimsy, right?
Yes.
A special portrait. Maybe you get a special little legend by going to one of these tournaments.
That would be cool.
which would be super, super cool to incentivize these group gatherings, because since we're on mobile, we can do that. Right, we can say everyone go to this Starbucks, and we're going to give we're going to do a small little tournament. We're going to do custom lobbies with everyone here, and everyone gets this little legend and 5% off at the Starbucks. Right, that's the type of stuff I want to start seeing next year.
Yeah, I don't know any numbers specifically for Hearthstone and its player base growing from mobile, but from what I remember hearing, so take this with a grain of salt, it was astronomical, the players growth.
Hearthstone made Blizzard more money than any other game for 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
when it was at its peak of popularity. So one, microtransactions, they work. Unfortunately, and two, that just, again, access is a huge deal when it comes to sustainability. And when we come out on mobile, everyone's going to have the most access we've ever had to this game. And it's kind of like how console players in Overwatch can't compete against it's two different communities, right? That's not the case here at TFT. So new professionals are going to be able to come. More people have cell phones than they do computers, right? And we'll see. It's going to be a really exciting time, and it's going to have a lot of growth. I expect it to go really well.
Yeah, if tournaments can be plug and play for mobile, forget about it. It's going to be huge,
right?
And I'm very excited about that because I want to play on mobile as well. I'm a huge mobile game and mobile esport proponent as well. But we have merely touched the tip of the iceberg with what we're going to have on this show. We, of course, need to talk about the new patch, which is going to be the meat and potatoes, which we'll get to right after this short break. Guys, if you are liking the show, please make sure you leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us there. And you can subscribe to us and check us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/theblevins. Of course, the home of all of our content is at discord.me/Little Legends Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. From the break, we've still got a lot to talk about here as we're getting a brand new patch for the first time in 3 weeks. Ding.
Hey.
And speaking but good news, Boop. We will not be waiting 3 weeks for the next patch. So thumbs up there.
I feel like there's a bamboozle coming on.
Because we'll be waiting 4 weeks.
And scene. That's almost one whole hand. You needed to be here at the break to understand that joke. That's the incentive.
We already made 3 in between the break jokes in this intro to talking about patch 9.24. So you need to be here at twitch.tv/Blevins for the live shows because they're great. But yeah, we did get some new patch notes, which are coming out very soon. So let's just jump right into them because we've got a lot of stuff.
Let's do it.
Oh wait, actually, hold on. Let's talk about the other stuff that's not the patch notes that have to do with the patch notes first, because that is actually no. We'll save. I don't know. Do we want to do the taste tier list right now, or do we want to do where we put these?
It'll be the cherry on top.
Okay,
let's do that. Let's do that last
because they all taste like cherry. Spoilers. We've got Teamfight Tactics patch 9.24 by Riot Beer Nana, and we will read the intro like we always do. Greetings, tacticians. The soulbound Senna and Lucian, along with Amumu. Headline patch 9.24. We're also giving a boost to some of the underperforming origins and classes. Our hope is that going deep into the compositions that allow that kind of investment, like Inferno, Light, Rangers, and Berserkers, are viable, even if not always optimal. Last but not least, we're decreasing the effectiveness of early hyper rolling by reducing the scaling of several tier 1 champions who are stronger than intended in the late game. We think there's more work to do here, but there are clear outliers we're looking to hit immediately in this patch. Let's get into it. And before I should have mentioned this before, but before we jump into these patch notes, there's actually a brand new video from Heroes Hearth TV that kind of goes over some of these champions as well as the comps. That is the best challenger comps, new champions, teamfight tactics, patch 9.23/9.24, which I mentioned specifically because you guys should give it a listen. I'll put the link in the description. But there's a pretty good voiceover on it. I don't want to. I mean, I don't know who it is, but I know that they sound pretty great and
Shut up, Lev.
are awesome.
Shut up.
Shut up. I had to throw that in
That's
there.
enough self-plugging for now.
Hey, I don't know who it is. I didn't say it was me.
All right.
Wait,
okay,
do you think
cool.
it was me? It's a mystery. Okay. All right, Boop, you take these first ones.
I got it. Thanks.
Got it.
We'll go through this part quickly because
Yeah.
we got super deep into the new characters a couple podcasts ago. So the new Soulbound champions, and Amumu. Soulbound. The first Soulbound champion to die will instead continue fighting as an untargetable spirit until all other Soulbound champions are dead. We're just going to read through this just as a sense of, hey, these are what these are.
This is what it is.
Tier 2, Origin, Shadow, Class, Soulbound, Ability, Piercing Darkness. Senna fires a beam through her furthest ally, dealing 50, 100, 150 magic damage to enemies and buffing allies on hits for 5 seconds to deal 25, 45, 75 magic damage from Senna. Lucian, Tier 4, Origin, Light, Class, Soulbound. Ability, The Culling. Lucian fires 10 plus parentheses 2x his attacks per second end parentheses bullets in a direction over 4 seconds, each dealing 25, 30, 50% of his attack damage, applying on hits and dealing 40, 50, 100 additional magic damage. Amumu, Tier 5, Origin Infermo, Class Warden.
Infermo.
Ability, Curse of the Sad Mummy. Amumu explodes in an infernal tantrum, dealing 150, 250 leet magic damage to all enemies within 2, 3, 4 hexes and stunning them for 2 seconds. So if you guys want to talk, if you want to hear about some strategies, I believe it was 2 podcasts ago that we really dive deep into Senna Lucian and whether a multi-Senna Lucian comp might work. So if you want to hear us get really in depth on this particular team comp, go check out that podcast. But for today, that's going to be it.
Yes. The only thing I'll add to that is that I've heard some early rumblings from players who were playing on the PTR that say Lucian Senna is closer to the broken side than the bad side. Had some people, I believe Eric Thomas was the one that was giving me the updates because he was playing on PBE, and was having some good success with Lucian and Senna. But yes, take a listen to those episodes. I think it was 2 episodes ago where we went deep into that. But we got some other updates here. The interface update, the updated level bar, hovering over the buy XP tooltip now displays how much gold you need to hit your next level. QOL, quality of life.
These are the types of things, like when you read bugs, you're like, I wasn't really asking for this, but why wasn't it already here? Right? Like,
but
I'm only reminded that this should have been here the whole time now that it's here.
Yes.
Right? But
hashtag
but
beta,
awesome.
but it's just quality of life. Like, it's good. And it shows a lot that we didn't miss it. Like, we didn't know that we wanted it, and now we have it, and appreciate it.
It should have been here the whole time, guys.
Yes.
What are you doing?
It now displays your current level and XP progress. Now displays the drop rates for different tiers based on your level.
It's like they added the Blitz app into this.
Awesome. Here's one that is a little bit controversial. They flipped the locations of the buy EXP or the buy XP and refresh buttons. They did do a little post on why they made these changes. Long story short, it makes a little bit more sense, but they warn, like many of us were thinking, that you're probably going to mess this up for a few games, which as long as I didn't change the keyboard hotkey, I'm fine, but like this is going to screw people over.
Oh, 100%. So if you're like into UI or something, the UI is like a scientific thing. It's really, really cool because it's how people interact with your website or your phone or something like this. So I can speak directly to why I think they made this decision. It would have been weird to have level 5 and all that experience to be followed by the refresh button and then experience again. So this way they have all the experience things together, and refresh, which is the outlier, in its own corner on the left. So it's gonna
correct, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to like be weird at first, but it's kind of like one of those things where sometimes the new Facebook interface was better but we just need
was always better. That people complain about the new Twitter, the new Facebook, the new everything every single time for exactly 1 week, and then you literally never hear about it again.
Yeah, and this is going to be the same thing unless you like throw a game because of it, which is going to happen to me, but not until like 3 weeks where it's not okay anymore.
Where it was 100% my fault and not the game's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as long as I didn't change the buttons on the hotkey, the keyboard, I'm gonna be fine because I've gotten used to using the keyboards. But if they change those, I'd just give up. But yeah, overall, I mean, just great. And they did mention the really good point of a change like this is always going to be bad, like at first, and it only gets worse the longer we wait. So let's just do it now, which is like. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. I'm looking for something to poke a hole in, and that's just a reasonable. That's just a good idea. Okay, so next question, please. But yeah, I'm overall. I mean, that one's a little bit wonky, but it makes sense. The reason that you just stated is exactly what they put in their reasoning, and it makes sense. Yeah, no, it literally is exactly what they said.
That's awesome. I like legitimately didn't see that.
Yeah.
So, good self-check. That's some good self-affirmation there, Chris. Yep. I learned something.
Yeah.
Back in the day then.
You sure did. Yeah, that was, I mean, it definitely makes sense. And it's just like good quality of life. Like, I'm really glad that they did that because I wasn't sure if they were going to put like the percentages because Mort has said on multiple occasions, like they don't want it to be like League of spreadsheets or like League of Clutter, and I think they like the little picture, like it looks good. They also moved a little lock button on the to the other side, which is also
another really cool UI thing here is I don't know if you noticed, but if you like once it's live, you guys will see. But they put the level up symbol at the end of the experience line, so it like all lines up too. So that's like another reason why that looks and will end up feeling better because it's kind of directing you to the most important information.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really important in UI. And I like the change a lot. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack this on the UI sense, but
I think
UI is like one of those fascinating things to me that I think a lot of people take for granted.
Yep.
And it's really, really hard to do. There are some people who are good at it. There's some people who are bad at it. I think these guys know what they're doing.
I think we have examples of both of those on this podcast.
Yeah, you see our screen with our 18 million different fonts. We're the ones that are bad at it.
No. I'm the one that's bad at it. And you're just negligent about correcting it.
I know. Right?
At this point, you just see it as a meme and embrace
I'm complicit.
Yes, exactly. All right, Boop. Let's talk about these other things.
All right, traits. Berserker.
Wait, no, we have another. We have one more UI.
Return to home and draft buttons. Oh, this is good. So for those of you who didn't know that if you pressed R at the carousel, it brought you back to your map. The home button appears when you're scouting on other players' boards, or the carousel can be used to quickly return to your home board. The carousel button takes you back to the carousel when looking anywhere else during the shared draft. So that's another thing that I know a lot of people have been asking for, and now you'll be able to click on the button rather than having to figure out the keyboard shortcut for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good that happened. I've been wanting this for a while because it's like I forget what button I need to press, and it's actually a very useful thing to be able to like cycle through very quickly without having to click around, especially during the carousel because there's some like pro things you can do where you can like you've got like a split second to like sell your thing off the carousel to get the item and the gold to get blah blah blah. It's all very pro, guys. You'll get there someday. I'll also get there someday. Actually, I probably won't. But all right, Boop, take us through some traits too.
All right, and I think the way that we do this is we'll like just do like 4 each, and then just talk about what we think got better and what got worse. So we'll give you the information first, and then we'll talk about it. So the first one is going to be Berserker. 6 Berserkers now additionally grant all Berserkers plus 25 attack damage. Cloud, you know how much I love dodge, but we're getting more of it. Dodge chance 15, 20, 30% to 20, 25, 35%. I also did find another Yordle I liked. It's not in the game. It's Ziggs though. Electric.
He's not in the game?
Well, he's not in TFT.
Oh, okay.
Electric. Damage 70 to 250 to 500 to 100, 300 to 500. And then last one I'll read here is Inferno. The effect triggers on spell damage goes to effect triggers on spell damage and critical strikes. So that's going to help Diana, for example. be able to proc it a little bit more often. Bonus damage 80, 175 to 250 over 5 seconds to 70, 120 to 180 over 4 seconds. And then hexes that light on fire 111 to 135.
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that one. But first, we got a light change. Attack speed bonus is now going from 10, 20, 35 to 15, 25, 35. Ocean, the mana regen is going from 15 and 35, 60 to 15, 30, 60. Ranger is now 2 Ranger is chance to activate bonus speed is going from 30% to 35. On 4 Ranger, it's going from 65 to 80%. And now there's a 6 Ranger bonus, which I don't remember if it was in before. Maybe it was. 6 Ranger bonus is now 100% chance to activate a 2.5x attack speed bonus, which I believe Mort confirmed does not. That puts you at max attack speed bonus, and you can't go over that with other things, at least not right now with this bonus. So you can't get like Rage Blade to get up to 2.5 and then also do this to have 5x. It just caps out at 2.5, which you're doing pretty all right if you've got 2.5x attack speed.
Yeah, it's going to change some of the itemization options for Rangers too. Right, because it's obvious that you want attack speed on them, but if you're going for the 6, might be better to get some more damage items instead. We'll see.
Absolutely. Shadow here, they say with the addition of Senna, we restructured the trait from 2-4 to 3-6 as she was making it too easy to access the top end. So it's now a 3-6 bonus. Shadow champions gain bonus damage for 4 seconds. It resets when they participate in a takedown. At 3 shadows, it's plus 70% damage. And at 6 shadows, it is plus 140% damage and resets anytime a shadow gets a takedown. And then the summoner bonus duration and health has gone from 40%, 100% to 30%, 120%. So, I think Berserker is a nice little buff here.
Might not be enough still, but it could make them more viable in certain lobbies. I mean, 25 attack damage is a good amount of attack damage.
Sure, and it's 25 times 6, right? For each attack is like you're getting 6.
Yeah, 6 separate plus 25s.
And that's also spread to the cone as well.
Yep.
So it's actually a pretty big like the amount of actual raw damage put on the board is actually pretty big.
Definitely going to try some Titanic Hydra on some of these Berserkers to see if we can like doubly increase that AoE. Because one of my favorite things was Titanic Hydra on Graves last patch.
Yes.
And it's like kind of like a similar feel. And it would kind of, I mean, if you're able to get the cross going, then it would be awesome for you. So we'll see how it goes, though. We shall see. With Rangers getting better, which would make certain items a little bit better too. It could be, and these items I think are getting buff. Yeah, like Giant Slayer. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Berserkers was already kind of like a tier 1.5, tier 0.2, or not tier 0.2, tier 1.5, tier 2 comp, I think. In general, like the Olaf carry, it's pretty counterable, but it still like I call it like one of the noob slayer ones in that it always beats me.
Well, it's a good like I might not win, but I might get top 4 type of comp, right? When you get kind of pushed into the corner at a party, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or you might win if your opponents don't realize that Morello and Omicron counters that Olaf pretty big. But I've had many a time where I'm less like, oh, my Morello's on a bad unit, or my damage reduction or my healing reduction's on a bad unit, so the Olaf just is unkillable for me. Cloud, I don't really think we're gonna see too big of a difference here. It does slightly buff Cloud, but I mean, Cloud is one of those, you're either getting it like by accident,
or you're on a Cloud map.
You're on a Cloud map with Kiana, and like you go Kiana Janna or Kiana Yasuo maybe, but not really like anything too crazy with Cloud, but it's a little bit better, so that's, I guess, good. Like, is one of those, like, they buffed Rangers a bunch, but there's also like a little bit of like counterplay to it built into the Cloud buff. So, but I don't think anything too big.
Yeah, I think like the biggest things here are definitely Inferno.
Yes.
And Ranger in terms of the most changes. I love these Ranger changes personally because I think it just kind of within Rangers gives you a little bit more big brain opportunity to try to work with it, right? Because you can start build because since it's a 25%, 2.5% attack speed bonus, how are you going to build them? Right? Are you going to invest your Rage Blade early on when it's not going to really do anything a little bit later? We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Is there only exactly 6 Rangers? There's Ezreal, Ashe, Twitch, Vayne, Kindred, and Varus. Is there another one that we're forgetting? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So you had to get literally all of them, but it's not impossible. I mean,
yeah. So if you were to run a 6 Ranger comp, Glacial would work, like a Glacial Ranger, especially if you make someone else a Ranger. I guess you could do.
You can't make anyone else a Ranger.
I'm not a Glacial. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks for having my back, buddy.
Am I offended?
Notice I didn't call you brother because we're family.
See, people, you need to come to game nights and also listen to the live shows to get these jokes, or you're avoiding them on purpose so that you're not a part of these jokes.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Inferno because I think Inferno's all the other changes are all like just numbers changes, and we'll see how that works.
The only other ones I want to touch on are Electric, which is getting buffed, and notably Zed, which is one of the best units in the game, arguably right now, is Electric. So a soft buff to Zed, and also, no, Summoner's not really. Shadow is changed drastically. Drastically is a word we made up on a different podcast. And it seems it's hard. It's going to be very hard to get 6 Shadow. It will involve a Lux or a Master Yi to get. But it feels like it's like super Imperials, right? You're getting actually more bonus damage than Imperials, and it's on 6 units. So it's
locked
like
and loaded.
Yeah, it's super Imperials. Now, are the units as good? Are any of the units as good as Draven? Maybe, but I think it's like it is like they were talking about a high roll comp where you can go vertical and get all your shadows, and like. When you get that Master Yi or the Lux, like you can actually go off, which is kind of cool. And then, Ocean I think was a nice nerf because it's just the 4 Ocean, which I think is the most common one and the one that was like fueling a lot of these end game comps and like the Summoner comps and Zed specifically. So good changes there. And Inferno is definitely the biggest one I think though.
We're definitely gonna. I mean, they obviously that too because of all like Inferno got super changed. It wasn't just a regular change.
Right.
It wasn't just dramatic. It was super.
Yeah.
Super all of the numbers. All of the numbers are different, and when they decrease the damage by what is that, 55 at level 2? Did I do the math right, or is that NA math?
Did. No, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm using my fingers. And then 70 at level 3. That 1 means that Inferno is going to be easier to get. They also changed the fact that you can light multiple hexes now. And so your Singe turning into an Inferno will be super good. And because you can also turn a unit into an Inferno, they had to think about that. And with that numbers decrease, they're obviously saying, hey, this is going to be good. Maybe they went too far one way, and then we see kind of like a hot fix buff in the middle of our 4-month break. But 4-week break.
1 month break.
Thanks, buddy. And we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to play some Infernos, especially since now we have a tank with a Mumu.
Yes. The other notable thing here is that they do less. So the bonus damage is less overall, but 2 things. You're doing it over 4 seconds instead of over 5 seconds. So you're doing more damage up front, less damage overall. Yeah. And you're triggering off of crits now, so you're going to have that damage triggered more often, and the hexes stack on top of each other. So you can actually get a lot of triggers with, especially with the expanding hexes. Like you can get some really fiery boards, which I think is going to be really good.
I didn't like the fire.
It was me. It was me. You didn't light the fire, but I did. I'll take the first one here with the tier 1 champion changes.
Sounds good.
Rip egg roll comp. At tier 1, we had Ivern Shield go from 200, 350, 500 to 200, 300, 400. This is a straight up nerf there for Ivern. Maokai passive heal going from 100, 175, 250 to 100, 150, 200. And then Renekton spell healing going from 150, 250, 350 to 150, 225, 300. So not crazy changes, just a little bit of adjustments, which I think is good. Like they all, like the problem was all of them combined to this late game comp when they're tier 3 to be really good. If you turn them all down a little bit, you turn them all down a little bit, and all of a sudden their sum is much less.
Oh, okay, all right. I've always been a preacher of, if you just go towards utility, you'll probably find a really broken comp, right? Because none of this is damage. If you like think about it, right? The shield value, the passive heal, and the spell healing, none of that is affecting their damage. It's just their utility, either for themselves or for the rest of the team. And it goes to show that damage isn't everything, right? You could do a ton of damage and still suck, right?
True.
For all those players in League of Legends, that's like, I have 13 kills, but you also die 12 times, right? And so
it's better than my KDA.
Yeah, this is. I saw you playing some Mundo last night.
I was. Wait, how did you see that? Can you see what champions they're playing? And
yeah. When you hover over, it'll show.
Oh, okay. I was like, was I streaming by accident?
Yeah, damage isn't everything, and this particular comp proves that. So when you're doing your theory crafting, don't just think about how am I going to output the most damage. It's how am I going to have the complete package, right? Which characters are going to protect? Which characters will attack? He attack, he protect, and he buff.
Yeah.
Tier 2, go for it, man.
Well, Renekton, the last thing I wanted to say about Renekton is that his damage output is decent, but he's not one-shotting everything, and that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he healed a bunch, and you couldn't kill him because he had magic resist with the Dragon's Claw and crit dodging with Phantom Dancer. That was like the build that you would go for, and also we'll talk about Phantom Dancer nerf in a bit, but the little bit of Renekton healing drop is going to be significant for him, but we'll probably keep him still relevant. So it's good that they kept these units relevant still. They're just not like de facto amazing. I'll grab the tier 2s and then you can do the rest of them. Nico attack range has been increased from 2 hexes to 3 hexes, and Yasuo attack damage has increased from 55 to 60. So,
negligible.
Negligible, yes, correct. It's interesting because Nico is also part of that Woodland Druid package of Ivern and Maokai, but Nico is a 2-cost unit, so not as easy to 3-star, of course, as the Ivern and Maokai, and also really commits you to Woodland Druids because there's no other synergies there. So like you can 3-star your Ivern, Maokai, and Nico and still probably have a pretty decent comp, or at least a pretty decent core of a comp, but it's not a top 1 comp, I don't think, a lot, and it's going to be harder because that Nico is not providing you any, like, that puts you nowhere closer to any other comp, right? We've talked about that before, and Yasuo is just a little nudge towards maybe a little more playability because I think he's just in an awkward spot.
I feel like he's like using a pool noodle or something when he attacks. Like, I just don't feel like he does any damage. And so maybe like 5 extra damage will help. And this just reminds me, you asked me it seems like yesterday, but earlier in the show, how my week went. So I played against a guy who made his Nico a mage and put him in a 6 mage comp and had a jeweled gauntlet and a Rabadon's on him. And oh lordy, he won that lobby.
That was the bit. So I don't want to take any credit because this was mostly Professor TFT's idea, but we kind of came up with egg roll before egg roll. We just did it wrong. We were doing egg roll, but no Renekton. It was just the Woodland Druid hyper roll, but it was for mages. It was to push into mages instead of into assassins, which ended up being much worse. But yeah, that was the same thing. It also relied on getting a mage item for the Nico, which also didn't end up working. But I think we inspired it.
All right, it's all you, man. Thanks for egg roll. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Sponsor us, Pan Express, please. Tier 3, Aatrox total mana going from 85 to 70. Ooh, that's nice.
Yes.
Sivir attack damage 50 to 55. That's actually a pretty big deal because that's going to also be for her AoE. Soraka attack range 2 to 3 hexes, so she's going to be a lot safer.
Give me my
and
lights.
Soraka attack speed. Are you ready for this big buff? 0.65 to 0.7, guys. So a big 0.05 buff on that attack speed.
Cheers in Bemi is what I have to say about that.
Yep. I thought of Bemi too. They're going to be super excited.
Wait, Bemi 2, like the upgraded version of Bemi? Like you collected 3 Bemis and now you have Bemi 2? I wish
Just
I
wait
had
until
Bemi
tier
2.
3 the Bemi. Yeah. Dude can dance. I don't know why I have to bring that up every time I think about Bemi, but they're like amazing.
Yeah, Bemi. Yes, you should definitely check out Bemi's channel. We need to make the Bemi dance channel in Discord so that they can post dance videos because they are amazing. But yes,
tier 4.
All good stuff. Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Go for it.
Annie Tibbers health going from 2,200 to 2,000.
Stupid bear.
Annie Tibbers armor going from 40 to 30. That's a pretty big nerf. Brand ability damage 250, 325 to 400 to 225, 300 to 600. So increase in damage at the top tier, but decrease on the first two. Malphite ability damage going from 125, 200, 275 to 150, 300, 1000. So if you've been waiting to play Mage Malphite, this is it. York Ghoul health going from 600, 1000 to 1400 to 600, 1000 to 2000. So negligible unless you 3-star that York.
That's a tough one. 3-star Malphite, 1k damage, forever unclean.
Get that Rabadons on him. Get that Jewel Gauntlet on him. He's going to be doing a ton of damage. Because, like, the thing about that's kind of exciting for me is the fact that, I mean, it's a cancer build, but AP Malphite is a thing. Like, that is a real build in League of Legends. It's like an assassin type of build, right? You just go in, you ult, you slam, you cheese wheel. Most of the team is dead. And since it's also CC'd, you might be dead, but the rest of your team should be able to follow it because you're not going to be super tanky. And so there's 2 different ways. You have armor scaling Malphite, where you build them super tanky, and actually AP Malphite, which is more meta right now.
Really?
And so it's giving, I think, the opportunity to do that in TFT, which I love that kind of interaction between the regular game because 100 more damage, 300 ability damage isn't nothing to scoff at. Like, you can work with that, and since it's AoE and guaranteed, right? I can definitely see the like at least just a Morello's, right? Like going on that Malphite and doing good damage, but also applying a lot of that debuff.
Well, because Malphite, like, Mountain does not really scale into the late game. It's very good early, but it's hard to get a Malphite early. And Warden is kind of an afterthought in general. Malphite, it's like it's a tightrope of whether you want to actually keep the Malphite in the late game. He is good. He kind of feels almost like a Cho'Gath in set 1, where it's like his ability is good, and even if you're not running Void or Brawlers, it doesn't really matter that much. He feels a lot like Cho'Gath in that sense, and we've seen, and his ability also acts a lot like Cho'Gath's. We've seen the highs and the lows of Cho'Gath, and this is certainly pushing him towards that high. I'm a little bit scared about this one, honestly. I mean, obviously the tier 3 Malphite is going to evaporate a team, but even the tier 2 is just good. Like, it's just solid. It's like, now if you have him in the comp, like, I think you're going to keep him into like you're going to favor leveling up to add your other unit for your other synergy rather than selling the Malphite to replace him. I think you're like more than happy to keep him now, which I think is probably what they intended. It's just like, man, he seems like he could be scary.
Indubitably.
Indubitably, yes. I now want to get the tier 3 Malphite as well. I want to see just how much.
We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to your video on it.
Here, yeah. Here's my build. I'm putting out an official 9.24 build board, TFT comp build board in the Discord here for a tier 3 Malphite with 2 death caps and what else, and some other AP adding item. I don't know what it is, like anything.
Morello's Jeweled Gauntlet.
And a Jeweled Gauntlet. There it is. It's 2 death caps and a Jeweled Gauntlet. That's what it is. I want to see the tier 3 Malphite with 2 death caps and a Jeweled Gauntlet. I want to see a whole team evaporate. There's my build. There's my.
So what if? Just gonna put this out here, right?
Or a mage item. With 6 mages. Your choice.
Who has like the big AOE ult? Right, you've got
Amumu does now.
Amumu, right? Because could you maybe
like AOE stun alts or AOE
or just like AOE ult?
I mean, Tarek technically has an AOE ult.
Because could you build a comp that's all about just like stacking AOE ult, right? Like you got the Malphite in there, then the Amumu goes in. They're both wardens. True. Right, so you could definitely put both wardens in there.
I don't think you're upset if you have a Mumu and Malphite in your comp. I think you're, in fact, very happy to have both
Nautilus would be in there too. Like it would literally delete whoever Nautilus holds, right? Mm-hmm. Who else would be in there? Oh, Scion. That could be another one that you could add on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna try it out.
Add on the Scion. So there's my build bounty. I don't know. I'll give out a free mystery emote or whatever I can actually gift before I get to level freaking 15 in the League client. You'll get something.
Oh, that's why you were playing Moonveil.
Yes, that's why I'm playing League. Is because I'm only level 12 and I'm doing the like basic level up your account quests right now. I'm literally just playing against the computer.
Well, enough about Malphite. Yes. A little bit more about Annie. These nerfs are definitely along with those Inferno nerfs, right? Because Tibbers was going to last forever, and Tibbers is just another character on the field, right? And was putting out a ton of damage, and now it's going to be less so because he's going to be squishier, but also a little just squishier in general. It's a health and armor nerf is a big deal.
I'm glad. Annie is one of the most annoying characters to play against, in my opinion. She puts on the stupid bear, then everything focuses that stupid bear, and then you kill the bear, it goes to something else, and she puts out another one. It's just like, come on, dude. I don't want to play against a stupid Annie anymore. So I'm glad. Screw Annie, screw Tibbers. And
screw you.
And screw you too. And screw Mewtwo. But
name money.
The Inferno. I gotta correct you there. The Inferno burfs definitely probably needed to tweak.
I'm excited.
A little bit.
I'm excited to see more Inferno. Like that's like just a comp that I think deserves to be in the game. Feels good in standard, right? And just needed that tank, and now we have it. And it's a reach because you gotta get to that level to get a Mumu.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, tier 5. Tarek, total mana. I think this is like the 4th buff in a row for Tarek.
Yes.
Going from 150 to 125. I believe it was 175 to 150 last time. Yep. Basically, he's just not getting his ult off, even as Crystal. Singed ability damage, 200, 400, 2,000 to 150, 300, 2,000. I wonder if that is for like an Singed made into an Infernal, but that's a lot of damage taken down.
I think it's partly that, and also partly he has
he's a strong
the other pillar of the meta right now, along with Zed.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And then Lux tier. Lux should be a champion that makes you at least consider pivoting to accommodate her, even if she isn't currently a part of your game plan. These boosts should push her in that direction. So Lux total mana 85 to 80. Lux ability damage from 500, 800 to infinite, going into 600, 900 to infinite. So it's 100 damage on all tier 1 and tier 2 extra. Plus, you're going to ult a little earlier, so you might be able to get those resets a little faster. And we'll see.
I like Lux being very good for a couple of reasons. A, she costs 7 gold, which is nothing to scoff at. And B, like, you can get a Lux, but you don't always get the perfect one. Like, if you get that, like, I guess Woodland Lux is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, if you get, like, Steel Lux is also kind of interesting. Actually, all Luxes are good. But, like, you get the one that's not perfect, like Electric Lux or something, and you're not running any Electrics. It's like, okay, this is just, like, you want it to just be a decent unit. Like, I feel like they want you to pick the Lux no matter what one it is, or at least heavily consider it, which is pretty much exactly what they said, and this pushes us towards that. I don't want it to be, like, super, super powerful no matter what one you get and no matter what rank it is, because if, like, you just spike the Lux early, it's like, oh, well, I got this super powerful unit. GG, I got lucky and got it. It's like, okay, well, all right, I guess. Now you at least, like, you're pushed a little bit more towards that, but it's not so far that, like, you feel like you have to run the Lux in that, and you also don't feel like it's just, like, game over if you get it.
Yep.
All right, we're coming to the end here as we go into the items. As alluded to earlier, Phantom Dancer has been changed. It now only negates the bonus damage from critical strikes rather than dodging the attack entirely. And note here that the change will not be reflected in the Phantom Dancer tooltip until patch 10.1, which is the next patch after this one. So it is being changed, but the tooltip will not reflect that, just as a technical issue or what have you. They've reduced the likelihood of class items appearing on Dragon. I like that a lot because it either feels really, really good, like too good.
Oh, it's my 6th light.
Yeah, it's my 6th light or my 9th light or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, well, I guess I have 1 Inferno now. And my opponent got a Phantom Dancer. Great. They also re-enabled a bunch of item drops from Dragon Rift Herald again. Now, only Thieves' Gloves, Force of Nature, and Titanic Hydra will not drop. Now, interesting thing here that Mort actually mentioned on his stream is there's 2 reasons that Titanic Hydra doesn't drop. One is that Titanic Hydra is kind of a niche item. It's not super great. You probably don't really want it anyway. It's not an item you're super, super happy to get. And the other reason is that, according to Mort, the Titanic Hydra on the Dragon would evaporate your team.
Oh, so much HP.
Yeah, so much HP, and also, like, spreading it. It's like, okay, the Dragon usually, like, kills, like, 1 or 2 units, and then you focus it down. But if it's like, it does extra damage, so it actually does more damage, and it's attacking more targets, yeah, it would evaporate the team. So that was kind of a funny one. And the last one here is that Giant Slayer's damage has been increased from 8% up to 9%. So still, we yearn for the days of the old Giant Slayer where it did true damage and did even more. I think I actually don't remember what the numbers were, but it did true damage, and it also did percentage of total health, not remaining health. But Giant Slayer needed a buff, and Giant Slayer on top of the Giant Slayer buff on top of the Ranger buffs should actually put both of them into an interesting position. I haven't wanted to build a Giant Slayer in a long time, and now I feel like we can actually get to a point where it would be reasonable. So I like it.
I like it too. I think this is a good patch.
Very, very good patch. The Phantom Dancer one, this is a really, really elegant and good change for Phantom Dancer, because they've talked about before, they don't want to really, they've changed the philosophy of, like, having hard counters to soft counters. This makes Phantom Dancer feel more like a soft counter to Assassins, rather than just like, oh, well, I have an Infinity Edge, and now I literally can't even damage you. It's like now, okay, I can damage you slowly, and maybe I still don't kill you, but I can at least do something. I at least have
Yep.
a chance now,
I'm in this.
or I at least
Right?
think I have a chance.
It's way more interactive, and fun and interactive
Yes,
is the name of the game when it comes to all game balance, right? If it's not
absolutely.
fun, it's got to be interactive, right? And then you can make an excuse to put it in there. Oh, this particular
Hmm.
thing doesn't feel fun, but it's necessary to balance the game, right?
Yep.
If it's not interactive, you want it to be fun, right? But the medium is you got to try to find things that are both fun and interactive,
Hmm.
and that's the gold standard. Can I read you my favorite bug
You
fix?
sure can.
Fixed a bug where every Lux except Light had 10 more base AD than intended. And then
Nice.
at number 2 is fixed a bug where you could get double health from Earth Hexes.
Awesome. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
I'll pick one that is a little bit more serious, but is still good nonetheless. They fixed a ranked bug where getting 0 LP for a 4th place finish would result in a demotion. Getting 4th place will now always grant at least 1 LP. Yes. Yes.
All right. So now quickly, Blev.
Yes.
Can we move on to the tier list?
Oh, we absolutely can.
Okay. So we have brand new Little Legends,
Yeah.
and that is one of the most important things to know. These are actually not really my aesthetic. If you're into like steampunk and that kind of aesthetic, that's something that you'll probably really, really like these. I could definitely see the Kroggle, is that what it's called?
I will have to double check the names on them.
I posted it here. It
Okay.
is I posted it in general. Here we go. Talker, which is the bird. Craggle, I was right, which is the thing in the front, and the Flutterbug, which is like the little stone sentry. And so, we have a running joke of which Little Legend tastes the best. And I have to say, these Little Legends rank D tier and below.
D and F tier. These look like they don't taste
these are
good
D
at
and
all.
F. No, because 2 of them look like they're straight stone.
Yep.
And
Stone
one of them,
metal.
one of them has like what I seem to view as glasses, and is like a little too, I don't know, like me. I don't know. Kind of reminds me, to eat.
I want to think a little bit outside of the box here, okay? Or rather, a little bit more stupidly, and like a little kid. So let's do this. So if we're going by what they probably are actually made of in the lore, sure, these aren't going to taste good at all. Like I'm not eating rocks, but rock candy could be sweet.
Oh, yeah. If we added a little
it could be
to the Craggle.
Yeah, he could be like, I mean, we need to see the color variations. He could be like a different type of rock candy or chocolate, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I still
like
think he ranks
chocolate.
pretty low.
Yeah, like those chocolate bunnies at Easter.
Right. Well, I was thinking the talker, like he's just a wonder ball. You crack him open, and who knows what's inside.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
You crack him open, and there's like little sour treats inside.
Yeah, he could be like a Kinder Egg.
Yes, he's a Kinder Egg, and he will be eaten as such. Yep. Which means the best tasting thing about him is the toy inside. So still pretty low tier.
Yeah, could be C tier though, because food is about experience.
Yes,
as
absolutely.
Well, right?
He does look like he'd be fun to crack open and eat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move Talker to C tier.
Yeah.
But Craggle and Flutterbug are gonna remain F tier.
Well, Flutterbug, a couple of things here. Either, I mean, we could go. I mean, not our American culture, but in some cultures, insects are quite a normal part of the diet.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Just looking at this guy, or girl, right, or thing. I just. Oh my god, I'm gonna say it again. He looks really unhappy, so I don't feel like he's gonna
Oh my god.
Right, look how happy the Talker looks. Talker will taste better because of
Talker. I think if I'm looking abstractly at the Flutterbug, that's a like strong grape or raspberry flavor, which I'm in favor of.
Oh, I hate red flavored things. Cherry, raspberry.
Oh, you don't like raspberry? Raspberry is, I think. Well, hold on. He's not really red though. It's more of like a purple, like a like fuchsia.
Yeah, it's like a bubblegum flavor.
Oh, could be bubblegum. A little bit darker than bubblegum. Could be blackberry.
Or Marionberry. To like
it could be Marionberry.
Pepto-Bismol.
Oh, yeah. Like the Canadian. What are they called? Canadian mints. Those pink things. that
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah.
Pepto Bismol flavored, but aren't Pepto
Yep.
Bismol. Actually, I don't know
Yep.
that they're not Pepto Bismol. I have no idea.
Like, yeah. So that's our in-depth analysis on
Long
these
story
new LoL
short,
Legends. Yeah,
at
we're gonna
best,
do this every time they come out with new ones.
yeah.
Just so you know, I'm gonna try to like make a tier list on the plane
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yes, good call. Share it with
Yeah.
me, and we'll keep it updated, and we'll post it for you guys in the Discord media/LoL Legends podcast to give us your input on it. But yeah, long story short, if we're being generous, we have maybe one C tier. Everything else is trash tier. For taste, for by the way, for the taste of these little legends. Also, like, I mean, we just had in my opinion, the best little legends that have come out yet. Star Guardian ones were really good. But the Louis Vuitton collab ones, I mean, give me my Kiki all day. Kiki. Nope, I said I wouldn't sing anymore.
There's a song you do the Kiki.
You do the Kiki.
Do the Kiki.
There's also the Drake song about Kiki.
Oh, Kiki, do you love me?
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to doing earlier. But then I said I wouldn't sing because that just leads to people unsubscribing. But I think we have one more thing as we are running out of time. We will get to builds. We'll get to some more builds next week. We are we're close, coming in on 2 hours on this one. So we're gonna end the show here with a brand new iTunes review from Karan W. Or is that Karen? No, that's not.
Could be Karen.
Could be Karen. Could be Karan. But it's a 5-star review titled "Great Show. Love the blend of informational content and casual conversation content. Keep up the good work." Thank you, Karan or Karen, whomever you are. We really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate all of the reviews on SpyTunes, on Spy Kids 2 Game Over, on Spotify and iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please do leave a review. We will read it out loud on the show. Everything really does matter. And for the brand new people who randomly came in earlier today, wherever you came from, let us know, because it's driving me crazy. We just got like a huge infusion of downloads specifically today before we recorded the show from last episode, which is weird for the pattern of downloads for the week. So if you're brand new and you downloaded specifically on Tuesday, let us know in the discord.me/LoL Legends podcast. But boop, that's it. We got the show. This is our last patch.
That was a quick 2 hours.
It was a quick 2 hours. Our last patch show for a month. We've got some stuff lined up in the pipeline, Boop, for some interviews. We're bringing back the interviews now that we're not going to have pre-built, ready to go patch shows. We got some pretty great interviews lined up. So stay tuned for those on Twitter at LIL Legends Pod and the Discord, which I've spammed multiple times. But if you forgot, discord.me/LoL Legends Podcast. Boop, where can people find you on the internet in the meantime?
At Booposaurus Rex on Twitter.com. Also, ChristianMingle.com. Wait. Wrong podcast.
Wrong. Wait.
Wait. I'm married. Wait.
Yeah, I didn't know I didn't know where I was going to go with that. So I just left it. Am I offended?
Am I offended?
You can find me at _Blevins on Twitter. You can find all of the show stuff on the Discord, which I won't bore you with the details of again. Guys, remember you can support the show at patreon.com/Legends Podcast as well. And for those listening, make sure you do head over to the Discord, because we do have that giveaway. It has started right now. Go to the giveaway channel, hit the little party popper. You will be entered automatically, and the bot will tell us who wins at the beginning of game night on Friday, where we will be playing and having jolly good times and all that stuff. But that's it, guys. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm putting my hands up for some reason. That's what I do at the end of shows now. Thank you, everyone, for listening. For Boop, I'm the Blevins, and we will talk to you guys about some more TFT next week. See
See ya.